I want to be really clear. We're not going to force our spouse to let go of their resentment. We're not going to coerce them. Hello, co-creators. Heather Choate here. I'm excited and grateful to have you join me today. In this video, we're going to talk about how to help your spouse let go of their resentment. So welcome, and I'm excited to have you join me. I know a lot of you have expressed that your spouse has been maybe holding on to some resentment, and I know how challenging that can be. So right off the bat, I want to be really clear. We're not going to force our spouse to let go of their resentment. We're not going to coerce them or pressure them or push them or make them let go of their resentment, because we know we do not have that kind of control, right? But we're going to talk today about some things that you can do that may help your spouse feel safe enough to let go of their resentment. So first of all, what are some warning signs that we've noticed are these. The first one being withdrawal. Is your partner withdrawing from you? Are they closed off? Are they giving you the silent treatment? Are there certain taboo subjects, things that you just know you cannot bring up because it will cause them to shut down? Are they pulling away from you? Are they withdrawing emotionally, physically, sexually, mentally, spiritually from you, and they're wanting some space? So if there's any kind of withdrawal going on, that is a very good warning sign that there may also be resentment at the root issue behind why they are withdrawing. And the second one is criticism, contempt, and complaining. So raise your hand if you are getting criticism, contempt, complaining, or blaming from your spouse. If your spouse sounds a little bit like Katie's here, she let me know in our Facebook group here that mine holds on to anything. I mean, anything wrong now, like I just can't win, since his behaviors are out and still a focus. So then we have to be even. If I said this, his anger, resentment seems so unfair. And I appreciate what you shared, Katie. It can feel very unfair. But we want to get to the root of what's really going on here and why he continues to turn everything around on you and has this kind of criticism and blaming going on. So that is a really good sign that there is resentment that's been built up, maybe over the past weeks, months, sometimes years, and yes, sometimes even decades, right? And sometimes we can carry this resentment for a long time. So if you're experiencing a lot of that contempt, criticism, complaining, blaming, then that's a good sign that there's resentment going on. And the last one are issues that just remain unresolved. So if you have issues and you're not able to talk about them, you're not able to resolve them fully, and if they're bringing up some of these past hurts to use them against us, right? Instead of wanting to resolve and heal them. So I also had another question here that came from Jessica in the group. And she said, my husband says he's forgiven me and holds no resentment for things that happened, but he still brings up what happened in the past. How is that not holding on to resentment? How do we move past it? And I got a little bit more clarity from Jessica and the way that he was bringing up these things. If your partner is bringing up these issues in an effort to heal them and to resolve them, then it's absolutely appropriate that you can talk about that and do that. But if they're bringing them up as like ammunition to throw against us and to say, oh, well, you did this, and remember that time that you said that, then that's another warning sign that resentment may be going on for them. So hopefully that gives you some clarity. And I want to know if you're experiencing this or you have experienced this in your marriage. I think almost every single hand would be raised, but let me know a little more specifically about what's going on in your situation, and I'll coach you through what to do about that. All right. Now, what are some of the common mistakes that people make when their partner is full of a lot of this resentment that we just talked about? So some of the common mistakes are getting defensive. We tend to get defensive when our spouse comes at us, especially with that criticism, that complaining, that blaming, that judgment, bringing up things from the past as ammunition against us. We naturally go to a place of defensiveness, right? It's really normal and natural. And so what happens though when we get defensive is that then we're just throwing stuff back and forth like a ping pong match, right? And we're never actually resolving these issues. So I'm going to show you what we want to do instead of going into defensiveness. Okay. Another common mistake is blaming them right back. Blaming them for everything, blaming them for why they feel resentful, blaming them for all the issues that have caused these things to happen. The other one is invalidating how they feel. Okay, a really common mistake that we sometimes see is that you're saying, you just shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't be so upset about this. You should just let it go. Why are you still holding on to these things? Why can't you just forgive me, right? And we're invalidating how they feel. And when someone feels invalidated, they also feel a level of disrespect and they don't feel heard or understood. So it's a very common mistake of invalidating our partner for why they feel what they feel. And then the last one here is withdrawal, ourselves. So sometimes when our spouse starts to withdraw from us or has a lot of this blame and a lot of this resentment, it doesn't feel safe or good to us. So then we want to withdraw so that we feel safe. Or we want to withdraw meeting their needs because they're not meeting our needs. And that just creates this vicious self-feeding cycle that I've experienced as well in my marriage of 16 years, right? Where we withdraw from them. Maybe I didn't feel so emotionally connected with my husband, so then I don't really want to be physically intimate that night. And then he feels rejected, so then he doesn't really want to talk to me and be emotionally connected. And round and round and round we go, right? So here are the 3 proven steps to help them let go of this resentment and step out of some of those more unhealthy patterns that we may find ourselves in. The first one is to get curious. Now, some of you may have watched part 1 of this video that I did last week of how to overcome resentment in yourself. And you'll notice that the step 1 is the same. Whether you're feeling resentment or your partner is feeling resentment, instead of immediately going into reaction about it, getting defensive, let's take a step back and let's get a little curious. A little curious, almost, if we could, be a little playful, a little bit curious to see what's really going on here. Why are they feeling this resentment? One of the first principles that we teach here at High Thrive Coaching with our PATH process is perspective. The P in PATH stands for perspective. So what we want to do is to gain their perspective of why they're feeling this way. What has caused them to feel this? So we need to kind of set aside our own defensiveness, our own story, our own emotional reactions, and step into their shoes so that we can see where they're really coming from. And as we see where they're really coming from, we often realize that the way that we interpreted things or the reasons why we thought they were doing something actually weren't even true at all. And we can see, okay, wow, I realized that, yeah, when I did that and I said that thing, that was a major trigger for you. And that's why you're feeling this way, right? Or maybe something from your past has caused this to be a very sensitive issue for you. I can have empathy for where you're coming from. And so when we gain their perspective, we also gain empathy. It doesn't mean that we're excusing what they're doing or what they're saying or the way they're behaving is necessarily right, but it is saying that I see that this is where you're at and I see that this is how you feel. We call that validating, which is part of this getting curious step, okay? Validating that this is true for them. Again, we're not excusing what they're doing. We're not saying I agree necessarily with what you're doing, but you're saying I see that for you, you feel this way. I see that for you, you want to hold on to this because you're scared that if you let it go, that I'll hurt you again. I see that that's true for you. And when we give the gift of understanding and empathy and validation, that lowers their defense mechanism. Because think about it, guys. When we have resentment, why do we hold on to it? We're afraid of being hurt again. And so we use it as like a self-defense mechanism, as a protective measure so that we aren't hurt again and we don't feel so vulnerable. If I can hold on to my pain here, then that gives you less room to hurt me again, right? So what we want to do is show our partner, hey, I'm wanting to understand where you're coming from. And when they feel that level of genuine, no pressure, no manipulation, and I just want to understand you, it lowers their defense mechanism. It helps them feel safer. Think about it again. When you are in a conversation with someone and you feel like they really understood you, they may not even agree with you, but they understood you. That feels amazing, right? We all crave understanding. We all really want to be understood by others because honestly, we really feel alone. We sometimes feel like no one really gets me, right? And so when we feel like someone actually understands us, we cannot help but have a connection there. And we cannot help but want to share even more with them so that they can understand even more about us, right? So you can give your partner that gift of understanding of, I see that this is where you're at. I see this is how you feel, why you feel what you feel. And I see that that is true for you. So that is the first step there, okay? And then take accountability for what may be your part. As you see their perspective, you may see, oh yeah, you're right. I have been kind of criticizing lately, or yeah, I have been kind of shutting you out emotionally. Yeah, I have been maybe not as upfront about where I'm going and who I'm with. I can see that that is my part in this. And you can take accountability that that is what you chose, right? I'm not saying adopt the whole problem, okay? But I am saying take accountability for what you feel like is your part and that you do have some control and responsibility over. And then choosing to go to the next step here. But before I get to that, I wanted to share a quick story about a client name has been changed to Riley. And Riley came to me and was in a state of constant defensiveness. He felt immediately defensive when he received the littlest bit of criticism, or even a lot of criticism from his wife, from his boss, even me as a coach. I would say, you might want to think about it this way. And he was immediately defensive. And I was like, okay, whoa, we got to work on why you're feeling so threatened by everything, right? And let's just change that defensiveness to curiosity, right? Let's just change that immediate reaction and wanting to immediately put it on someone else or put up that buffer so that you're not so threatened, so you feel safer. And let's get curious about what's going on there. And as we did that, we realized that he felt very, very insecure. And because he had a very poor self-confidence issue, right? He was constantly putting that out there to deflect any kind of criticism so it wouldn't hurt so much and make him feel even more insecure. As we uncovered the truth of who he is, that he is a confident, amazing, capable, intelligent human being, then those insecurities lessened and he felt that kind of confidence. And then he was able to take his partner's feedback, her criticisms, and not get immediately defensive about those either. He was able to get curious about why she was saying what she was saying. And he realized, oh, wow, there is actually a lot of truth in what she's saying. Oh, wow, all those years, yeah, I have been really hard on her as well. I have been very defensive. I've been very volatile, right? I really haven't worked to understand her at all. And so he took accountability for his part in what was going on in their relationship. And then as he did that, she felt more understood. And he then went on to the next step here. So step 2 is to express a desire to improve the relationship, express a desire to step into a new pattern and do things differently. So in Riley's story, she felt unheard, she felt unappreciated, she did not feel respected or understood. And so he said, I'm taking ownership that I had part in that, and I recognize why you're feeling so resentful towards me all these years. And why you're choosing what you're choosing. So validation, getting curious about it, validating it, and now expressing a desire. I'd really like to work on this with you. I'd really like to improve this. I would like for you to feel heard, respected, understood, important, cherished, right? I would like to understand where you're coming from and to work together on these things, right? And so we can ask them, like Riley did, what are you wanting at this point, right? Are you also wanting those things? What is it that you would really love to see here? How would you really like to feel in our relationship? What would you like to experience? So going a little bit deeper into, okay, I see that this is where you are, right? And this is why you feel what you feel. And now where do you want to go? How would you like to feel? and asking them to give you a clear request so that you can better understand what they're wanting and you can support each other better. Because, like we said in part 1 of this resentment issue, is that oftentimes we have expectations or we're wanting things and we think that maybe we're communicating those things, but our partner really has no clue that that's how we're really thinking or feeling. And when those expectations aren't met, we get very resentful. And so it very well may be that the reason why your partner has all of this resentment is because they have assumed that you knew what they wanted. They have assumed that you knew what their expectations were and that you would meet those. And then when you didn't, then now they're holding on to this resentment. And so the cure for that is asking them to clearly express what it is that they're wanting, what it is that their expectations are. What are your needs here? What are you really wanting? And then that goes to step 3, which is working together as a team to meet those needs. So then when you understand what it is that they really are wanting, now you can say, okay, how can we work together as a team on that? I would like to support you in feeling safer here. I would like to support you in healing this. I would like to support you in knowing that you can trust me again. How can we work together as a team on that? And this will bring an really open and beautiful conversation and discussion that you can then have where you're not in this defensiveness. You're not in all of this tension. All of the tension is gone and you're in a place that resentment can now heal. Okay. And that is exactly what this client Riley did. He learned how to let go of his own defensiveness, how to understand his partner, get curious about his partner, and then express to her, I want to see this improve. I want to really be there for you. I want you to feel important and adored and cherished and respected. So what are you wanting? And she expressed a few things. I would like it if you come home and you're talking about this issue, that we don't do it around the kids. I would like it that we would be able to connect for a few minutes every single day because you're so busy with work, right? And as he got that feedback, he took that and also expressed what he was wanting with those clear requests. And then they were able to work together as a team on that, to the point now where their relationship looks nothing like it did when they first came to us. And that's exactly what I want for you as well as you apply these 3 steps. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, my friends, right? Resentment is one of those things. It's like the Grand Canyon. It can just go down so far and so deep. But this is how to get things started. Now, if you're wanting more help to know how to really get out of the Grand Canyon of resentment, then comment happy marriage in the comments below, and I will send you a free guide on how to heal resentment, how to heal lingering issues, how to overcome these challenges and restore trust fully so that you can have a thriving marriage long-term, even if your spouse may not be willing to work on things right now, or even if they're full of resentment. Okay. So comment happy marriage. I will respond to every single comment that we get and make sure I give you guys that free guide. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and like this video if you like it. Let me know where you are at with things. I look forward to connecting with you and I cannot wait to see your marriage thrive.